Today, the Below Average Joe's MMA show presents Cageside Rewind. We will spin the wheel and let faith decide what UFC event we will be scouring through today.
Yeah.
We will laugh. We will cry. I'm the guy wearing tie-dye. All this and more, and it all starts right now. Welcome one, welcome all to the first Cageside Rewind.
Ooh.
A show where your favorite Joes go future to the back. And we take a trip down memory lane and check out some of the biggest, the baddest, the best, maybe the worst cards in MMA history. This is the portion of the show. This is the way it's going to open every time, people. We are going to find out, as you do,
Yes.
what event we will be rewinding to today. So, Dominic, I think it's time to spin that wheel.
And we're off. That music scared the shit out of me.
UFC 240.
Not too historic one, you know? Well, I couldn't mess with it.
We're not going too far back for this one. So, an interesting card to start with. But if you guys want more details, then continue watching as I kick it over to myself. Take it away, Noah.
Yeah.
UFC 240 was held on July 27th, 2019 at the Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This was the UFC's return to the home of the Oilers after their first showing in 2017 with UFC 215 Nunes vs. Shevchenko 2. With an attendance of 12,144 and a gate of 1.4 million, the event was a step backward from UFC 215's attendance of 16,232 and $2.02 million gate. The main event would see the pairing of Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar fighting for Holloway's UFC featherweight title. This was the UFC's third attempt at pairing the two after failing to do so with UFC 218 and 222, with each fighter having to pull out due to injury. For challenger Frankie Edgar, this would be title fight number 9 of his UFC career. In a stunning upset at UFC 112 in Abu Dhabi, Frankie Edgar would become the UFC's lightweight champion after defeating division great BJ Penn in a fight that Edgar would close as a plus 620 underdog. After spending nearly 2 years as champion and multiple title defenses, Edgar would lose his title in 2012. Frankie would speak to feeling undersized at the division he had been champion of. This would lead to him making a move to the featherweight division in 2013. Upon losing an interim title fight to Jose Aldo at UFC 200, there were questions as to how much Frankie had left. He had proven to be an elite fighter in multiple weight classes, but by this point it had been over 3 years since he was champion. He would bounce back, however, with wins over Jeremy Stevens and a very impressive one-sided beatdown of highly touted rising contender Yair Rodriguez. This performance would earn him a shot at Max Holloway's title scheduled for UFC 218 at the end of 2017. But unfortunately for Edgar, he would have to wait longer for his shot, as on November 11th he would be pulled from the bout and replaced by Jose Aldo. However, the fight would once again be booked, this time for UFC 222 in March of 2018. But once again, Frankie would have to wait for his shot, as this time Max would be pulled from the bout on February 3rd. But rather than waiting, Frankie stayed on the card and welcomed a late replacement opponent in the surging contender Brian Ortega. This would prove to backfire, as Frankie would be knocked out for the first time in his career by Ortega in round 1. And to make it worse, Ortega himself would then be placed in the next title fight with Holloway. Despite this road bump, Frankie would bounce back in a big way with a victory in his home state of New Jersey against Cub Swanson in 2018. And just over a year later, he was finally back in position to face Max Holloway. For UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway, his journey has been an interesting one to this point, since we have basically watched him grow up before our very eyes and completely mature as a fighter. The Hawaii native started his UFC career at just 20 years old, and with only 4 professional fights to his name, at one point it almost seemed unthinkable that he would one day become champion. During that time, Max would find himself with a UFC record of 3-3 before embarking on the run that would define his career up to this point. He would rattle off 9 straight wins over the likes of Cub Swanson, Charles Oliveira, Jeremy Stevens, and Ricardo Lamas before earning himself an interim title shot against former UFC lightweight champion Anthony Pettis at UFC 206, where Max would finish Pettis in round 3. 6 months later, he would unify the title by defeating Jose Aldo and cement his status as the best in the division by beating Aldo again later that year. Follow that with a record-breaking showing against Brian Ortega, where Max would land 290 significant strikes on Ortega, a then record for the UFC, bringing his win streak to 13 and securing his record for most significant strikes landed in a UFC career. For his next fight, Max decided it was time to chase history, and attempt to become only the 5th fighter in the company's history to simultaneously hold 2 division titles when he main evented UFC 236 opposite Dustin Poirier. It was a great fight, but ultimately Max failed in his bid to earn champ status. So, despite 2 successful title defenses, a number 6 pound-for-pound ranking, and record-breaking performances left and right, Max Holloway enters UFC 240 with a chip on his shoulder and a renewed motivation to prove that he is the best featherweight in UFC history. The co-main event would see former Invicta, Strikeforce, and UFC Women's Featherweight Champion Cris Cyborg, in her final fight in the UFC, take on relative newcomer to the company Felicia Spencer. In most people's eyes, Cyborg was already a legend of the sport before this event, after holding multiple promotion titles and having 20 straight fights without a loss. But many wondered how she would look following her 51-second knockout loss to Amanda Nunes just 7 months prior. The relationship between Cris Cyborg and the UFC has never been great. In 2011, following a successful title defense against Hiroko Yamanaka, Cyborg would test positive for a banned substance. It would prove to be detrimental to her reputation and lead to many unfavorable insults from the MMA community, including UFC President Dana White, who at a media scrum in 2014 spoke on Cyborg's appearance at the World MMA Awards, saying she looked like, quote, Vanderlei Silva in a dress and heels, unquote. Yikes. There was also the feud between Cyborg and former UFC megastar Ronda Rousey. These two were asked about each other a lot. In August 2012, Rousey made it clear that Cyborg needed to meet her at 135 pounds if the fight were ever to happen. This point would be reiterated by Dana White after signing Rousey, with him saying Cyborg wants nothing to do with this fight after Cyborg had pleaded to make the fight happen at 140 or 145 pounds. This rhetoric would continue for multiple years, with Rousey and White trading turns, taking shots at Cyborg's failed PED test, and insinuating that her claim that she physically could not make 135 pounds was disingenuous. But then the impossible happened. In 2015, Cyborg announced she had signed with the UFC. And honestly, guys, there is so much more I have not mentioned about the feud between Cyborg, Dana White, and Ronda. It could honestly take up the entire length of this segment and then some. But for the sake of time, let's go ahead and talk about how Cyborg's UFC career was going up to this point. She would debut at UFC 198 in 2016 at 140-pound catchweight. In fact, Cyborg's first 2 UFC bouts would be at this weight. This is because the UFC only had 115 and 135-pound divisions for their women fighters at this time. That is, until in December 2016 when the UFC announced they would be introducing a women's 145-pound division. Yay, all is right in the world. And we have an inaugural title fight. And it is going to be at UFC 208 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And It will be Holly Holm versus Jermaine Durandamy? Well, this is kind of strange, isn't it? This division was clearly created for one fighter. That fighter is not presently booked or injured, yet that fighter is not in this title matchup. Dana White would blame this on Cyborg, going on UFC Unfiltered to claim Cyborg had turned down 2 different dates to fight for the title, citing an inability to make 145 pounds in 8 weeks. What was Cyborg's response to this? Well, remember those 2 140-pound fights Cyborg had taken to start her UFC career? Well, they had taken a toll on her, especially the last cut. They had had a tremendous impact on her, and she felt like she was going to die, in her words. Clips of her state during the cut made a lot of rounds in the media at the time and raised a lot of questions regarding unsafe weight cutting practices. This was, by the way, at a weight only 5 pounds less than the division we are currently talking about. But, despite all the drama, Cyborg did eventually capture UFC gold with the TKO victory over Tanya Evinger at UFC 214. 2 title defenses later, and the Amanda Nunes fight was next, which she lost in very emphatic fashion. As for what happens next, it kind of depends on who you believe. Cyborg said she texted Dana White the night of her loss, asking for the rematch with Nunes right away. Dana, however, stated multiple times that Cyborg did not want the fight, and even said she was scared of losing again. So now she's fighting the unknown Felicia Spencer, who debuted in the UFC just 1 month prior, defeating Megan Anderson. It kind of feels like there is so much going on outside of the cage with Cyborg's contract status and her ongoing drama with Dana White that the fight itself has sort of felt like a bit of an afterthought in the build-up. Will Cyborg be overlooking the hungry young challenger? Time will tell, and I'd say with that, it's time to begin our watch through. UFC 240.
Ron Perlman.
We are no longer in. When did they stop doing the Bring the Pain on pay-per-views?
That is a great question.
Like, it felt like just one day it was there and one day it was not.
It was gone. Yeah.
Because I know at Fight Nights they have been doing these kind of intros for a long time.
Yeah.
But at some point, when I started watching, it was still Bring the Pain.
Yeah, at 199, definitely was still there.
And I think it was still there for a couple years later.
Yeah.
Maybe the ESPN deal?
Ooh, that could be it. We're going to find out. That's what this journey's for.
That is what this journey's all about.
John looks so different.
I'm assuming, because where did I just say? Over in Canada. So no Rogan, probably.
This is a 2-man crew.
Is
John
it?
and Joe. Joe is on this, I believe, if I'm not
Canada?
mistaken. I think. Well, we're about to find out, I guess. We need that. We need that roll.
I'm dying with the anticipation. I need a drum roll.
We need the Chris Collinsworth Sunday Night Football roll
Yeah.
in.
Of Justin Fields. Chris in this sound machine that is.
Everybody starts screaming.
Yeah, dude, look.
Oh, look, it is Joe Rogan. Wow.
Another question: is this the last time he technically did an international event? I wonder. If
I don't know. I don't know because that's so weird. Because I thought he never did international events. That started years before this.
Yeah. Maybe everybody else.
First it was the fight nights. He was like, I'm not doing international, or I don't know if he said all fight nights or whatever. But obviously now he's just domestic pay-per-view. But
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he was doing some stand-up over there in Alberta.
When did DC and Stipe fight the second time?
UFC 1 month later.
That might be why DC's not on this. This is 1 month during his camp, I bet.
That's true. It looks like my pizza has arrived, so I'll be right back.
Nice. I wonder what pizza you got, guys. Let me know what you think right now. What pizza do you think Noah got before he brings it in?
I fucked up, dude.
I
fucked up big time.
Oh, no.
Little note for all the listeners, viewers. Papa Murphy's Take and Bake Pizza does not come to you cooked.
Dude. Oh.
Can I I mean,
Oh,
this is a raw ass. Like, I'm sitting
Yeah.
over here fucking. I'm like about to throw the dough up in the air. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
you gotta go put it in the oven. And we know your
don't-
struggles with the oven.
I don't have a pizza like.
Do you have a
tray or
pan?
whatever.
Oh no.
Can I just eat the toppings and not
Ew.
die? The longer I sit here and wait, that pizza is just.
Please don't eat that uncooked pizza.
It's
Please.
probably pretty good.
Dude,
Say his name.
Davison Figueiredo and Alexandre Pantoja both top 4 on the prelims, not on the main card.
Man, all the disrespect to those flyweights, man.
Some things
And it
never
was fight of
change.
the night. Fight of the night
course.
as well.
Who would have thought? Oh, I was going to say, we should guess what color Bruce Buffer's suit jacket is.
He's in Canada. I'm going to guess like a maroon.
Okay, because I was going to say straight up red. Is that fair to do red versus maroon?
How are we always, like, how, out of all the colors, why are we picking the same one? I mean, what is going on here?
It's got to be that family of
Fine.
colors.
You go with red. I'm going to pivot.
Okay, you better hurry.
Light blue. No, dark blue.
Dark blue. Noah says dark blue. I say red. Oh, Canada. Let's
Look
hear
like
it, Bruce.
handsome.
What you got? Give me red, baby. Oh, you would have been
That's-
more right than me, I
That's
think.
such bullshit. I know Bruce Buffer so well. Dude, I could get a Frisch's Big Boy right now.
I've not had Frisch's in so long.
Oh, round one underway.
I'm not big on mustard. Yes, fight has started.
I like just regular mustard, and I do like honey mustard at times, but like spicy brown mustard, I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
Oh my gosh. Krzysztof
Ooh.
Jotko just did a dipsy daisy flippy do. Joe Rogan says it got sloppy though. Sloppy toppy.
Sorry, a what?
Joe Rogan said Jotko got sloppy
No.
toppy.
But I'm talking about the dipsy doozy flippy doo.
Yeah. I mean, if there's ever a fight between Marc-Andre Barriault and Krzysztof Jotko, this is how you would think it would play out, you know?
I don't think that was a compliment, but you're right.
We've got booze coming in for the first time on the pay-per-view.
And these are Canadians, by the way. They definitely give them a lot more slack. I mean, if this is an American audience, they're booing 2 minutes into the
2
first
minutes
round.
in, yeah. This one, Canada's so nice, it took them 6 minutes and 40 seconds before they booed. And they already stopped, so.
Yeah, oh my God. You're right about that. How is that not a dick shot? I mean, is the dick just not there?
What?
So,
Yeah, like Jotko's landing more. That was a nice
Oh,
take.
shit.
Oh, wow, okay. Well,
how's that? Somehow he ended up on the
takedown,
bottom.
yeah, and he had full mount, too. I mean, that was literally at the buzzer.
That looked like someone
Weird.
trying to take down Derek Lewis. You like get a great takedown and then he's on
And he
top.
lands-
It's like,
yeah.
how did? And then it's like the record scratch. It's like, I bet you're wondering how I ended up down here.
Yeah.
So fight one ends via split decision. Your winner, Krzysztof Jotko.
Krzysztof Jotko just did the spinaroonie. Sorry, Noah. Go ahead.
I did notice that out of the corner of my eye. That was very impressive. Probably the most impressive part of the fight right there. So, Dominic, what were kind of your thoughts on Barriault versus Jotko? Oh, there's Volkanovski.
How cool is
Look
that?
at that.
Number 1 ranked
Man,
Alexander
look at
Volkanovski. He weighed in as the backup for the main event. Interesting.
Did you notice that like there was hardly any reaction for him too?
I know. And now
think
he's
that
the number
shows
2
how
pound for
far-
pound.
Shows how far he's come, right?
In 3 years. Just over 3 years.
So here we go. Fight number 2. Olivier Aubin-Mercier taking on Arman Tsarukyan. 2 guys who we've been talking about a lot in recent months. So this will be very interesting.
For very different reasons, too. That's what I'm going to love so much about this whole rewatch series, this journey we're on, man. Where they were, where they are now. Obviously, it's more relevant for like these 2 guys, but still. I do wonder if this is going to cancel out and be a striking match, and you would think Arman has the advantage. We've seen how great he is on the feet.
Ooh.
As I say that, he gets a fucking head kick to the face, but catches it.
Arman is going for the takedowns though right now. He seems pretty aggressive in getting that. It's just so interesting now that we've gotten used to OAM and the PFL to see anybody try to take him down.
I know. Who's the little kid sitting next to Dana?
Is that his son?
I don't know.
Is that Hasbullah?
Before everybody knew about Hasbulla,
Where's Dana? Where you at?
he's to the right of the blue ESPN Plus pad there. And it looked like a little kid next to him. It could have just been a bad angle.
I want to see.
See it?
Was that a
Isn't
little
that
kid?
a little kid? Front row next to Dana.
I just saw somebody.
See that? Look, his head's barely peeking over.
That's Hasbulla, bro.
Dude, maybe. Oh!
Oh, shit. You said Arman gonna have the advantage on the feet,
know.
but OAM throwing that crazy shit. That was a nice leg kick, too. But it looks like he's gonna go for a ride.
Man, Olivier did pretty good there. Arman didn't land too much. He was just kind of controlling the fight. I do wonder how the judges scored that round. And I wonder how they would score that round again 3 years later in 2022 with the way shit's
It's a good point. It's a good point. Now you probably score that for OAM. Back then, definitely started.
I bet. I bet.
No, it's green, bro.
A green bug.
Dude, what the fuck is going on? I need a napkin. I need like 10 napkins. I don't want to touch
10
this.
napkins.
Honestly, right now, OAM looks like he could be up 2-0.
He very much could be up 2-0. Joe said this could easily be 1-1. And again, I keep hopping back to where we're at present day in 2022 thinking OAM's up 2-0 easy in 2022. I am super intrigued at this round and just the scorecards in general. OAM is beating Arman on the feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding strong in the grappling department, not getting taken down. I mean, this is I'm having a hard time finding much success for Arman, really. I mean, let us not forget how, awesome Arman's elbows are on the ground. Shout out my man Joel Alvarez was on the worst end of those.
Oh my god.
That was one of the bloodiest fights I can remember in the last couple of years.
That fight was that was just a very fun fight to watch, but man, poor Joel Alvarez just got steamrolled.
Yeah, man.
Joe saying that he's likely going to secure
know.
a decision with him.
He's like very confident that Arman's going to win. That's but I wonder at the time, me watching this, if I thought the same thing though. It's so interesting to see where we're at right now with judging and everything.
I just don't understand. The rules didn't change.
I know.
But somehow
they're just more prominent now, I guess.
Apparently our understanding of the rules have changed massively. Like, the rules that were in this fight, that were used to score this fight, were the exact same that we have now.
Yep.
The changes were made like 3 years prior. Like, basically, since I've been watching, it's been these rules.
All right.
So I don't really understand why the last few months, all of a sudden, everything changed. I just say, what were we missing,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I am scoring the fight right now, I score it 2-1 for OAM, but clearly that's wrong. It's going to be a 29-28 Arman, I imagine. I wonder if this is a split. I'll be curious. That was a 29-28 unanimous across the board for Arman.
So, like Dom just said, Arman Tsarukyan gets the unanimous decision win over Olivier Aubin-Mercier. So, Dominic, your thoughts on the fight? You obviously disagreed with the judging, but overall, good fight. Not a great fight. Yeah, what are you thinking?
Better than the first fight of the main card. Nothing great, but it makes it cooler to watch that fight and know where both guys are now in 2022. So yeah, I mean, interesting fight. Niko Price's hair very different in 2019 than what it is now in 2022. Sorry, got distracted there. But it was the high-level stuff, much like you would assume from OAM and Arman Tsarukyan. That was Arman's first UFC win, and we've seen what he's done since. And like Noah and I were discussing, that may have been OAM's last UFC fight. We're not 100% sure. We could even look that up, I guess. But look at that. Geoff Neal, minus 330 coming in against Niko Price, plus 260. I guess at the time, that makes a ton of sense. This is Geoff Neal's rise still, right? He hadn't lost yet in the UFC.
Niko Price is just one of those guys who's never in a boring fight. That knockout of James Vick is just brutal. The Randy Brown knockout where Randy's
bottom guard, yeah.
I mean, that's just... Niko Price is just a fucking animal. Big Dan Mergliata, your referee.
Another guy we haven't seen in a while.
We are kick-starting fight number 3. Geoff Neal taking on Niko Price. I don't remember this fight very well, but I doubt it's going to be boring. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. His hand speed's so fast, Geoff Neal. That performance he just had against Vicente Luque, man, he really made a statement with that win. That was big. He needed that.
That was a
too.
surprise. I was not expecting that. That's the best he's ever looked.
Oh, yeah. To do it to Luque, you know? First guy to ever finish or knock him out, yeah. Ooh!
Oh!
That quick little left.
Yeah.
Big takedown from Geoff Neal. He's so physically strong. Niko
going for
rolling
a ride.
around like a damn alligator in the water.
Ooh, but he's going to end up potentially on top.
And
what the? God, Geoff Neal's so strong.
Trunks are coming off, I think.
What?
Niko's so long.
These two look like they're playing a game of Twister right now. What the hell's going on?
Nope.
Slingshot, engage. Oh, that was a good shot from Geoff Neal. But Niko is adamant about these body kicks right now. I'm liking it.
Hey, man, that Geoff Neal left hand, just like landed at will against Luque, that's his weapon. He throws that shit so quick and from all angles.
Yeah, you got to be very impressed now looking back on the Wonder Boy fight for how Stephen Thompson pretty much avoided that for most of the fight.
Yeah, I thought, to me personally, that was one of Wonder Boy's.
Oh, he's hurt.
Neal big combination.
Niko hurt.
Takedown again, fails.
This fight's getting a little wild.
Niko Price, who would have thought? Oh my gosh, they both just got knocked down.
They both just got knocked down. Whoa.
Did Geoff just flash KO, hit his head on the mat, and woke back up? I'm pretty sure.
That was
giving me
I don't remember that.
Dominic Reyes vibes or some shit right there.
I remember Geoff Neal getting dropped like that.
That was a double knockdown, essentially. That was crazy. There's that little kid. Oh, dude, that's Minnie Blessed. It's Minnie Blessed. That's who was sitting next to Dana. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's Minnie Blessed. Oh my gosh.
You're crazy.
I was like, who is this little kid next to Dana? It was him.
I'm just telling you guys, Dom would be the type of dude, if we were at a UFC event and he saw Minnie Blessed, he would ask for an autograph and picture.
That's facts. Facts. That would be on my backdrop behind me.
Let me know down below, on a scale of 1 to 10, how embarrassed would you be if you had Dom with you and he did that?
It's good stuff.
I don't know who you scored that round for. You kind of...
Yeah.
I feel like Geoff Neal's got to take it, though, right? But I don't know. Like,
it's interesting.
I wonder if that was credited as a double knockdown. Like, that would really help me here. If
I want to see if they clashed heads. They did clash heads.
So...
And they both went down.
It looked like the punch.
Niko landed a hard left, but Neal landed a left, and then they clashed heads.
Oh, shit.
Oh, they're swinging and banging.
I'm over here talking about tracking
Spinning
shoulders.
What?
Dude, what? Damn.
Niko locking in again.
Oh.
Okay, Geoff escapes. Oh.
Nasty ground
Geoff Neal is raining down big, thunderous left hands.
Nasty ground and pound. It does look like Niko could sneak in like some sort of
I know, triangle
armbar attempt.
Bar.
Yeah, because it's kind of the guard's a little loose right now.
Dude,
it's about it. That's
He's
it.
Out. No,
that's it.
He stopped it. Wow, Geoff Neal's left hand is a deadly, deadly weapon.
Niko not happy with that stoppage, but hard to.
Niko just look at him, man. He just is like. Fucking loves it. He lives.
It's hard to deny that stoppage, though. I mean,
nah, his head was bouncing off the.
A lot of unprotected shots right there.
Yeah.
So fight number 3 ends via TKO in round 2, 2 minutes 39 seconds in. Geoff Hands of Steel Neal finishes Niko Price. So this is probably the most noteworthy thing to come out of this card, Dom, is the fallout of this fight. Cris Cyborg, Felicia Spencer. Obviously, in my little, whatever you want to call it, my breakdown of kind of what led us up to this event, I talked a lot about the ongoing beef between Cyborg and the UFC, Ronda Rousey, all that. But the biggest thing I had to leave off is what ultimately got her cut from her contract or released, which is the whole doctored video fiasco that happened right after this event. I mean, this was right after this fight. She confronted Dana White backstage at this event, released a video where the subtitles of it made it sound like Dana had admitted that he lied about her. And then she pulled the video a couple days later. Kind of turned out that she blamed someone in her production team. And Dana said, we're out of the Cyborg business, released her from her contract, and then she went on to Bellator. So she's an absolute legend, man. I mean,
oh, yeah.
That's an OG. Like, you go back and look at some of her early fights, you know.
She's a pioneer for women's MMA.
Elite XC and promotions like that before even going on to Strike Force and Invicta. Like,
I mean, look at that. UFC, Strike Force, Invicta, and now Bellator. Champion in all 4. It's crazy.
And she is getting tagged immediately. Holy shit.
That's what's always been crazy about Felicia. Her durability and toughness and heart is just always was unquestionable in all these fights she had. That was a nice step-in elbow.
That was a good elbow.
And Cyborg. Oh, she cut Cyborg with it. See how that was like such a big deal? Joe's like, holy shit, Cris Cyborg's bleeding. She's cut.
I am curious to hear his commentary because this is one of those fights that has been gone down in infamy for Rogan's apparent biased commentary against Cris Cyborg.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see how that sounds because if I remember right, this is pretty much a clean sweep for Cris Cyborg on the cards, but
yeah,
Rogan made it sound like a much closer fight, so we'll be interested to see how that goes.
Those knees to the body. Oh, man.
Oh my sweet Mother Mary.
Crazy. Her power and just strikes her. Her combinations have always been so great, Cyborg, man. The way she puts them together, 4, 5, 6.
Like, that's your mom walking in on you in the north-south position in UFC is my mom walking in on me in the strip club in Grand Theft Auto 5.
I've never heard a better analysis.
Never forget my mom being like, what the fuck? I'll never forget that. And I was like, it was a mission, I swear.
Yeah. It's part of the game. Dude, the knees to the body are making me...
What?
Oh, that elbow. Oh my gosh.
Good bounce back win for Cris.
Yeah. Here's Joseph.
Oh.
Joe's so witty when things happen like that.
And we would never see her again in the UFC. As following all that shit that happened backstage, she would be released from her contract. It's kind of a somber end to the UFC career.
Yeah.
I do miss Max being in this position, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sucks watching him lose the way he did to Volkanovski. I mean, I love Volkanovski, but God, I miss Max. Was just the confidence, the way the swagger, the way he talked, the way he fought. Like that was a fighter's fighter right there when he was champion, you know.
Absolutely.
And we're ending round 2, and I still don't think much has really happened here.
Yep.
Well, Frankie going for a little something, but and Max said, anything you can do, I can do better. That was an interesting way to end that round 2-0, Max. Do you remember, like, what's your earliest memory with the UFC? Like, earliest you can think back?
Probably.
Is there a fight?
Probably Chuck and Randy Couture. I'd say it was the one that's prominent in my head. Like, I vividly remember renting that because I know Dad had bought pay-per-views before that, but the one that I, like, literally remember, probably Chuck and Randy Couture. Yeah.
That was literally the fight that really started the boom. That was that. And Ultimate Fighter Season 1 had just wrapped up.
Yeah, I remember how big it felt.
A huge time.
Recorded it on VHS tape type deal.
I remember me and our buddy Jake Moore, that is. We were at his house and we were looking up Brock Lesnar's UFC fight on YouTube.
That was your first kind of recollection?
Yeah, and then I think I saw Forrest Griffin versus Stephen Bonner on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then, because I went and cleared out a lot of my Facebook history just because it's so cringy.
Yeah.
And I had posted like 2 or 3 times in like 2011 or 2012 about the UFC. And I had no idea. But it would be like me being like, really hope my parents decided to get me UFC whatever for my birthday. And I was like, I don't even remember asking for that. Like,
that's awesome.
So I always had that fleeting interest. It just never was able to commit to it, you know, because I didn't have the money I wasn't buying the pay-per-views, you know.
Yeah. Chuck and Randy, and then Rich Franklin was a big deal around here because he's from
Yep.
Cincy.
My dad's met him. Met him.
Yeah. Local gym.
Had no idea he was one of the best fighters in the world when he met him, though.
Yeah, he was legit, man, and a full-time teacher on the side, and worked out at a gym that's now Queen City Grappling. Pretty successful little local gym here. Has fighters. Shout out Jimmy Sandlin, right? Fighting in Combate and whatnot. I mean, they have good fighters there. Back when it was just the Power Station gym, Rich Franklin was there. So every time he fought, it was a big deal. Then my idol, Anderson Silva, had to, send him into oblivion 2 times. It was
send his ass to one championship. Right?
Little did I know that was kind of almost the first passing of the torch for me. Because I came in with Rich and cheering him on, the Ohio guy, and then my all-time favorite fighter takes the title from him and runs with it. It's crazy. I never thought about it that way till right now. Who was like that first fighter for you? That I mean, I guess
once I started watching. UFC
let's go to like UFC 199 and like what fighter really stuck with you that first year? That was like, this is who I'm gonna ride with. This is who's. So
Stipe was an obvious one, right? We saw him live,
and
he was Cleveland champion. Was Robbie there yet? I remember getting really excited about seeing Anthony Pettis when we were at the UFC 203 live event.
Yeah.
Or Fan Expo, and then it rained, so we couldn't meet him. So I remember really liking Anthony Pettis. I really liked Nate Diaz and when him and McGregor fought, I was rooting for Nate at B-Dubs.
I remember watching that fight with you. Yeah.
It's the first time we ever watched the fight at B-Dubs, actually.
Yeah, you know what I remember even more? Well, not even more. I mean, that fight was fucking awesome, but that was when Rumble knocked out Glover Teixeira. That was 13-second uppercut from hell. Man, that was our stomping ground. That really started a trend for us that lasted quite some time. It did.
We went to B-Dubs for almost every pay-per-view from like...
Yep.
Because there was a little gap after 202, because then we went to 203.
Yeah, we went to that one.
We were home for 204 and 205. I watched 205 at your house. 204, you were at B-Dubs with other friends. I
remember that. Yeah.
Because I got invited, but I couldn't go for some reason.
Yeah.
206, I don't remember watching live. 207, Rousey Nunes was at your house.
Yep.
Cody Garbrandt, amazing.
That was a New Year's Eve thing. I had a lot of people there.
Yeah, actually, Cody was one that I was like, I thought he was going to be like my guy for up until now, and then he kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we met him, and then his next fight, he won the title.
We met him twice,
twice now.
I mean, I love Cody. Don't get me wrong, but like, I really I was like my Ohio boys are champions, and Cody just didn't really happen. And then from there, I'm pretty sure we just started going almost every month. Yeah, I know 209 was back home. That's the one pay-per-view I've gotten my dad to watch with me live. Well, that and International Fight Week just a couple months ago. That was Wonder Boy versus Woodley 2, and I had to apologize to him for spending his money on that card afterwards.
Yeah,
a lot of memories, man. My entire college experience is essentially tied to binge drinking and people kicking each other's ass in the cage.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the MMA, the UFC, like that was a huge part of the college experience. I pretty much for 5 years, I may not have watched every card because it really might have taken me time to get to that point. But God, I checked in on every card, saw the results, saw what happened. A lot of memories. It is very interesting. Once we started doing the podcast, like before we started it, I thought I was a hardcore fan, and I would say I probably was.
Yeah.
But the leaps and bounds that we've gone since then, like in knowledge and just everything. I mean. Like, I'm almost embarrassed that I thought I was smart enough to do a podcast about MMA when we started.
Yeah, compared to where we are now, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that.
But, I also love that about us, that we kind of just went for it and didn't give a shit what anybody had to think, didn't care who was out there doing it already.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do it for fun. And it is fun to go back and listen to our thoughts on UFC 252 and I go back and listen to old episodes all the time. I mean, obviously we've improved a lot in our setup, our audio, our
the content
format
has changed. Yeah,
but those conversations are still very authentic to me. I still love listening.
And that is much to the part of that, guys. And I think we probably said it in the pilot, but that was every conversation Noah and I would have before the podcast. Like the conversations you hear on here are what we do out of the podcast and what we were doing leading into the podcast, because we had talked about starting it for like a year or more at that point. During all those cards that we would go watch, we would sit at beat ups for 6 hours and just eat wings and drink a beer, and I mean, and now
they'd have to kick us out sometimes.
They literally would have to kick us out at 2 a.m. or whatever, Noah would even take a poster from the wall. Remember, they would let you have a poster.
Yep. And you know what? What's so interesting is that now we talk at least. I mean, we pretty much talk every day if you include our Twitter and group text with our buddies. But as far as face to face or in this kind of way, I mean, we're talking at least twice a week for multiple hours.
Yeah.
At that time, before the podcast, me and Dom were in the same college, but once we stopped rooming together, we were sort of living different lives. Like I was very into my like fraternity life and campus involvement, and Dominic was very much still into sport management. He was working at the ticket office and very into the athletic side of our school.
Busy schedules, man.
Yeah, and so really those were the only times that we were coming together, and we were spending 6 hours talking about what was going on in our lives, all updating each other on all the crazy shit that had happened with each other, and talking MMA. So those I almost part of me wishes we would have recorded more of those conversations before it became such a reoccurring thing, right?
Yeah, those are those moments you can really just cherish and always bank in the memories. Like those were. What did Andy say in the office? I wish you knew you were in the good old days before you left them, or whatever he said.
Yeah, that's probably the best quote that show's ever produced.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite.
Obviously,
all-time
we
quotes.
love The Office, right? Like, love The Office, but it's gotten a little overdone with the quoting of the show and stuff. But that quote, top notch.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's truly how I felt through most aspects of my life,
Yeah, 100%.
I do love the idea of like just sitting in the moment. You said you had a little bit of that last time we were all in BG watching the UFC card together.
Yes.
You kind of were able to do that at the end when we're all cleaning up. You got to just kind of stand there and look around, and it was like, man.
Felt special. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've not had that yet, where I've gotten to just be in the moment. Mm-hmm. But like for high school football and stuff like that, like you're always so focused on whatever, so stressed out, and it's like, man, I wish I could have just in the moment been there,
taken some time to
reflect and just realize, look at where we've came, look at what's going on.
It's life, beautiful thing. Look at that little kind of.
You know that the fight's not very exciting when me and Dom just go on.
People are gonna see that part of the video and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Max Holloway and Frankie are fighting. But, hey man,
they're gonna be poking us with the stick, like, make us laugh. Damn it! What's this shit? What's this?
I know they're like wiping tears off their cheek listening to the MMA show. What's that?
I mean, I was surprised actually to see Frankie get a little bit of success with his takedowns in like the last round, but really there's just not a whole lot going on here. I mean, it's
this was just Max kind of in a flow state, getting the reads that he needed, not being overzealous, which he never really has. It's crazy, man, that like Max had all these shutout performances, great performances. And none of them are even his best. His best performance ever came after he was the champion. It's mind-boggling against Calvin Kattar. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I wonder if there's a debate. I wonder if anybody out there would try to debate and say like the Ortega performance is better.
I mean, that's great, but I mean, that Calvin.
I agree. I agree with you, but I wonder if there is anybody who would try to say, well, because of the title performance, or maybe thinking Ortega's a better opponent than Kattar.
Yeah.
I do wonder if there's anyone, but I think it's pretty clear that's like the best performance in UFC history. His win over Calvin Kattar.
It's unreal. And I mean, not that Brian has done bad things. I mean, he took a while off and then had his best performance ever after that against Korean Zombie. But Calvin Kattar had his best performance ever against Giga Chikadze and had a very close fight with Josh Emmett this year as well. So
What's a shame is I might do it again. It's like that Goofy meme where he's like, I'll fucking do it again. That's going to be me.
oh shit, man.
I just got to find just a sweet little Southern Belle that's got Fubo TV subscription. And just be like, hey, baby, you trying to watch the Challenger series and chill?
What?
Oh shit. Noah can be that meme that you would see on Twitter where the guy's like in the girl's ear, but it's with Challenger series on.
She's like, this isn't what I thought when
Yeah.
you said Challenger series and chilled. It's me being like, Carlos Leal has got to be a favorite to win this season.
Yeah.
He not only didn't get a contract last season on the Challenger series, then he gets a late notice fight against Ray Cooper III, who won the previous season. And this woman's like, oh my god, dude. Like,
I fucked up. Well,
Max Holloway and still your UFC featherweight champion.
tell me if there's anything notable in this.
Yeah, I guess
here.
we'll get through the interview and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But,
Final thoughts. Get you guys out of here.
So something that we're going to try out, hopefully start doing when we do these Cageside Rewinds, is we kind of want to do a cumulative score. Me and Dominic each give a score 1 through 100, and we average them out, and that is our score for the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is ultimately the 5 fights, or I guess sometimes occasionally 6 fights, or I don't know, off chance 4 fights, whatever. That is what you're paying your hard-earned money on. So this is anything 60 and above is a recommendation. Make sure you go ahead and buy it. Anything below that, it's a skip. Also want to shout out 2 good friends of ours, the Barely Critical Movie Review Podcast. We're kind of taking that scoring concept from them.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to those guys if you're listening. But I'll let you give your thoughts on UFC 240, and then you can give your score 1 to 100, Dom.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good card with no incredible takeaways. It was cool seeing Max Holloway defend his belt for the last time. Little did we know it would be the last time at that point because of how good he had looked. And, you know, Jeff Neal with the big statement finish, the only finish on the main card, the best fight of the main card, Cris Cyborg's last UFC fight, Felicia Spencer's first professional loss, Arman Tsarukyan and OAM. That was the fight I enjoyed the most out of the decision ones just because of where they are now. OAM, 1 win away from a PFL title, you know, and Arman, one of the best in the world at lightweight, the most stacked weight class. It was a fun fight. The first fight, Jotko and Barriault, not very memorable. So I'll go overall first one of the year, or first one of this concept.
I know this is kind of setting a standard right here.
Yeah, and which
'Cause
makes
you
me
know
almost
what you're
want to go
gonna do.
lower.
Yeah, you know you're gonna like the next one. You're gonna want to put, if you like it more, above it. So just remember, like, I think we're both leaning slightly negative. Where I don't think either of us are giving this a full recommend.
Yeah.
But if we're putting this in the high 50s, are we saying that this is like just barely a don't recommend?
Right.
Because there might be some cards in the future that you're going to want to don't recommend, but they might be better than this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 47. Shout out AJ Hawk from the
47.
Buckeyes. I'll go 47. Good card, nothing crazy, not gonna knock your nuts off.
What?
But it was
40,
yeah, it
a
was a good
47 out of 100, under 50%. Good card.
Yeah.
I'm going to go pretty similar to you. Jotko, Barriault, I mean, it's what I expected. Not very good stuff there. Just very clinch heavy, very slow, plodding fight. The OAM Tsarukyan fight, I think my interest in it was higher than what the fight actually produced due to the talent involved that were pretty high on both guys right now. So it felt bigger because of that. Like if we were watching this fight at the time,
Right.
definitely wasn't anything.
And, you know, we kind of have to put ourselves in that mindset of if we can.
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
hard.
It's hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
do. Admittedly, my interest was kept because of who was involved.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think the fight itself was still forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's memorable in the sense it might have been OAM's last UFC fight, might have been and it was Arman's first UFC win, but
Yeah.
beyond that, not a whole lot there. Jeff Neal, Niko Price was awesome. Just a lot of fun. Two guys with heavy hands landing on each other very hard and dropping each other multiple times. The fight was closer than I remember. For some reason, I remember Jeff Neal just running through him, and that is not at all how this went. Niko actually, I think, dropped Geoff twice. I mean, once was like a headbutt, but Jeff Neal, though, gets it done in the second round. Your only finish of the pay-per-view card, and I think that definitely helps it as well, get some points. Co-main event, Cris Cyborg's last fight. It was entertaining to watch because, again, Felicia Spencer just taking shot after shot, and she just doesn't seem all that fazed by it. Cyborg, very aggressive, heavy hitter. She's fun to watch. So it gets a passing grade, that fight, but nothing special, I guess, and a weird one to put Cyborg in after her loss of her title and to Amanda Nunes, and it's a weird one to end her UFC career. And then the main event, I just kind of expect more when you have Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar in a fight. For two guys that are so fan-friendly in their styles, they just didn't mesh here very well. It was very clear that Max just had a big advantage in the reach and being able to keep that distance properly. Frankie just had a hell of a time trying to close that distance. So pretty dull 5-round fight, to be honest with you. Me and Dominic got very deep during that part. So.
Yeah.
So all in all, I'm basically saying there's one really good fight. There's one fight that's worth watching. And then you basically have 3 fights that are kind of forgettable. So, God, now I'm tempted to go lower than you based off of what I just said. But my original score was going to be 49. Now am I going to stick with that? It's Max Holloway's last title defense. It's Cyborg's last UFC fight. It feels a little more relevant because of that. But really, it's a pretty forgettable card. I'll go with the 49 because we're going to meet in the middle. And then it'll be a 48 out of 100. And I think that's a very good score. That. So UFC 240. Hopefully
it's in the books.
Maybe Dominic will put a little something on here. 48 out of 100 is what the Below Average Joe's MMA show gives UFC 240. Comment below your score for UFC 240. Let us know if you guys were able to, if you guys went back and watched this due to this episode or what have you. Let us know what cards you want to see next. Admittedly, we're not going to use your suggestions unless we get some overwhelming support for one, because we got the spinner wheel deciding how we're doing things around here. But let us know what you think of the concept. I'm hoping, again, we have not edited this and put it together yet. If it turns out the way that I envision it, this is what I am going to be most proud of up to this point that we have created. It's really what I want us to hang our hat on and point to when people say, why should I watch the Below Average Joe's MMA show? Content like this.
Yeah.
For now, this is the content we're giving you. You got the podcast that we do twice a week. It'll vary depending on the month, but you'll get verbal sparring. You'll get at least, I'll put it like this. You will likely get at least one verbal sparring and one Cageside Rewind a month.
Yeah.
Could there be more? Maybe. Is there a month where we might not be able to do one of the? It could happen, but hopefully one a month for each. So that is really what you're getting for the near future, but that's not to say that you won't see more in the future, because we got a list of ideas and we're still brainstorming. We've been in such a creative flow recently that who's to say that tonight me and Dom don't hatch another idea and we're talking about it Sunday?
Talking to some people from the community as well.
Yep, that's potentially on the horizon as well. So really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, to watch. Please drop a like, drop a comment. It helps the algorithm. Follow us on our social media at the Bajma, at the BAJ MMA. Let us know your thoughts on this concept, ways that we can improve it. Again, really appreciate it. But Dominic, there's only one way we end our shows around here. I know this is new content. It's different than the podcast, but I refuse to have a normal sign off. So I'm going to put you on the spot and say, do you have any closing statements for this very first Cageside Rewind? Oh, look at that. You had that ready. I literally did not tell Dom that we were doing that. And that man put it there. He had the banner ready to go.
But do I have one is the thing.
You got to have a question or something. There's got to be something in that brain.
Oh, dude. You know what? I'll do this. It's going to be MMA related. I know we don't like to do that, but we asked each other this question. Surely this conversation is going to be in the episode, so I'm going to ask it here to you guys. Well, what is that one kind of memory or that one fighter that maybe not necessarily brought you to MMA, but that made you stick around, that really pulled you in and made you kind of love this sport, love this game? Noah and I kind of gave our thoughts on memories or like that one first person. Let us know what you guys think. Yeah, it's MMA related, but it relates to the show. I want to get your guys' thoughts.
And I will say, because you kind of worded it different there, the fighter that made me stick around has got to be Dan Henderson, UFC 199. That's the fight. His knockout over Hector Lombard is what kind of convinced me, like, this is something I want to stick around and keep watching.
That's a big one, yeah.
So, yeah, Hendo. I got to give him a lot of credit for that. I mean, it's so weird. Like, the main event is this massive upset knockout, Bisping over Rockhold, but I don't remember it that way because I didn't know who either guy really was.
The storyline, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my answer. For my closing statement, I will pose a question. Gatorade or Powerade?
Ooh. You know what? I think
knee-jerk reactions to immediately go Gatorade, but do not overlook Powerade.
You have to
here.
think. I think right now, 24 years old, current day, I'm taking a Powerade over a Gatorade. I think I am.
It kind of depends on the flavor, I will admit.
I'm specifically thinking of the blue one. Dark blue one.
Mountain Blast, I think it is. Mountain Berry Blast or whatever. Yeah. To me, the Powerades are defined by the blue and actually the pink. Pink lemonade.
Okay.
Just fantastic. But, if you put it up against Gatorade's Glacier Freeze, I mean, come on, guys.
That's an all-timer. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the white. I didn't think I would be because I don't like the idea of a white drink. Yeah, so but it's, what is it, Berry Blast or something?
I think that's probably my favorite one. That and Glacier Freeze are my two favorites. Yeah.
I'll take either. Admittedly, it's been kind of like finding out Santa Claus isn't real when you find out how bad for you Gatorade and Powerades really are. That they're not actually these like post-workout, like they're like, it's like drinking Kool-Aid or Hawaiian Punch with a dash of electrolytes.
Yeah. A lot of
which kind of sucks. Kind of sucks to find that out when you're a little bit older, but. I think the biggest thing that tips Powerade, if you're just going flavor for flavor, like doesn't matter, you're just getting a random one, right? You go Powerade because of the size.
Yes.
Girth. Proportions, right? The girth. I mean, dude, the girth on those things.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's a solid circumference.
Gatorade's a grower, Powerade's a shower.
What? That'll do it.
I'm Noah Baker. That's Dominic Salee. We are simply two of the below average Joes, and we'll see you on Monday.